In this episode, Nelson Nash and I discuss life, history, and economics.
All right, so there's real money and there's funny money out there tracking side by side. Well, I can demonstrate that I have never paid income tax in my life. I wrote about this in banknotes some time ago, that from Social Security, see, I'm 87 years old at this point. From Social Security, my wife and I get more money than we pay in taxes. Well, is that money that they give us, Social Security, is that real money or is that funny money?
It's funny money.
All right. So every month, from those two sources, we get about $3,400 a month. Now, how do we do that? Well, we waited till 71 before we ever applied for the stuff. Yeah. See, every year that you put off getting it past normal retirement age, the rate increases 8%.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 8% on top of what it was last year. What now? We're back to the tree rings, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that money comes in, and every quarter I send them $2,500 back, $5,000 back of their funny money.
Social Security's a tax. You pay Social Security all those working years.
Yeah. Coupled with the fact that I haven't mentioned the fact that I flew airplanes for the Army National Guard for 28 years, and so I have $1,009 per month that comes in from that source. Now, is that real money or is that funny money?
That's funny money.
Yeah. Okay. So now, how did I acquire that funny money? Well, I flew airplanes for 28 years. Now, what I got paid for flying airplanes with the Alabama Army National Guard was way more than I ever paid in income tax. Was that real money or was that funny money?
Back when you were getting paid?
Yes.
For doing the service?
Yeah.
That was real money.
Where did they get the real money to pay me? You tell me where did they get the real money to pay me? Huh?
They printed it up out of thin air.
Oh, okay, all right. It's funny money. So anyway, so people say, yeah, but you had to fly them dang airplanes for the National Guard. Say, yeah, and you play golf too, don't you? You spend a ton of real money on golf clubs and fees and trips and all that sort of stuff. And I flew airplanes as a hobby. And I have played golf and I've flown airplanes, and flying airplanes is a whole lot more fun.
I bet.
That was just my hobby. Funny world, isn't it?
It is. It is. It is. So money turning over 30 to 100 times.
Yeah.
In Tulsa, their money didn't leave their economy.
No, exactly.
And so they accumulated, piled up wealth, goods and services. Yeah. All right. Now we've had this conversation many times over the last few years.
Yeah.
And at one point, and now I'm 55. I was born in 1963. So
double nickel.
Yeah, all this student, but I'm a student of history. Okay.
Yeah.
And so
hallelujah.
Right. And have been all my life. I got kind of triggered about 15, 16 years ago when I thoroughly accepted the fact that I had been studying revisionist history my whole life.
Yeah.
It ticked me off pretty good. I'd like to say I'm over it, but I'm Irish and Scottish, so I carry a grudge. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Whenever, when we got past Tulsa, because at one time Black people couldn't shop in
right
stores and things, right?
Right. Yeah.
So when the time came that they could shop outside of their own community, just like a child, if you tell a child they can't have something, well, that's kind of what they want.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Now, as soon as they could, in my opinion, right, from what I can see, when the Black people could shop outside of their community, they did.
Yeah.
And then the money turned over one or two. Or three times.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So, literally, we can create an environment and control it where our money doesn't have to leave our personal economy until it turns over many times.
Sure, that's the whole object, as I see it, of life insurance, is because that's real money. I meet this guy named James Neathery, and he's a life insurance agent and whatnot, and he tells me about the glories of life insurance and stuff like that, and so forth. And I say, God, boy, that is a good idea. I like to buy some of that stuff. Well, we'll have to come up with a plan, and we'll have to fill out some paperwork and stuff like that. Now, to instigate the plan, what have I got to do, James? I've got to give you some money. Well, what kind of money is that, sir?
Real money, please.
Yes, I had to provide goods and services to be able to do that. One or the other. Well, you get compensated for it because you deserve it and whatnot. That's real money going to you. Well, those home office folks, they don't have no sense of humor at all. They demand on getting paid. Well, so they get some of that real money. But good grief, the amount of money that goes to you and to those folks is infinitesimal in compared with what happens the rest of it there. You go downtown 5th Avenue and 20th Street, Birmingham, there's 4 buildings on that corner there, of course, and 3 out of 4 are either owned or financed by Equitable Lights. So they put that money, that real money, to work in those buildings. Well, how do they get compensated for it? Office rent. Well, what kind of money is that they got? Real money. And so people don't understand this at all. They've been tricked and they don't understand it. But, when you go back there and look at what is really going on in the big play, it's the international banker types that you know all about, that the puppet masters that have created all this evil stuff. They're the ones that created in the supply of money. Just in the last few years, I have learned all about the 1890s and so forth, about what happened in South Africa. That there was Cecil Rhodes and there's Alfred Milner, and there was Nanny Rothschild and W.T. Stead, and the 5th guy, I can't remember, but they were creating this secret society that would take over the world because they thought that was the greatest idea that ever came along, that the British Empire was the way to go. And they were at the peak of their power at that particular time. Well, that led to the Boer War, which I had heard about, but I didn't know anything about it. But I've learned big time about the Boer War as a result of that. And that should never have happened. Good Lord, what a horrible idea. Well, if you're king of the mountain, James, what is your biggest fear? Somebody's going to knock you off. Somebody's going to displace you. Well, Germany, as we know it today, is only since 1871. Before that, it was fragmented areas like the Hanseatic League. There was Prussia. There was, oh golly, what's down south there? I can't think of that right now. But anyway, it was fragmented big time. Well, when it all came together, they were coming on like gangbusters with high quality products and low prices and so forth. And that was a threat to the British community. Well, you got to get rid of those dirty Germans. That means you got to have a war. Well, to have a war, first thing you got to have is lots of money. And so that's the big object there. The Boer War was the Kimberley mines and the diamonds and gold and so forth. Yeah, but you can have money and stuff, but unless you got the will of the people, you ain't gonna pull this thing off. So the biggest thing you got to have really is propaganda. See, that's the whole idea of the so-called educational system we have out there today. It is not education; it is propaganda
and indoctrination.
Yes, yes, exactly. Well, in 1902. The Boer War came to an end, and so the propaganda machine got going big time of painting the picture that those Germans are the worst people in the world. Well, they had to convince the British people that them dang Germans was going to come invade England, which is not true at all.
Yeah.
Well, they spent a ton of money over all these defenses and changing the mindset of the people. And so this gets real complicated now. We're going to be talking about big numbers. We're going to be talking about number 1902 and 1910. That's what big numbers, right? Well, what happened in 1910 at Jekyll Island, Georgia? Please.
Mm-hmm.
The Rockefellers and the Morgans, the Warburg and so forth got together down there to come up with a Federal Reserve System. Well, the whole object there was they knew that to exterminate that German bunch of people, you got to have a war. Well, that means you got to have an open-ended supply of money. And of course, these folks that I'm just talking about, the international nations don't mean anything to them at all.
All right. No loyalties.
Right.
There's no loyalties.
Now, so the whole object, when you connect the dots, in my opinion, why did it take place in that 1910? They met, and the device they came up with became law in the last week of December 1913. Well, next week is 1914, isn't it, James?
Mm-hmm.
Well, son, what happened just 7 months later, please?
World War I.
Well, can't somebody connect the dang dots?
All right.
You got the propaganda there, and you got the money. And so there was no such thing as a world war before this particular time.
It was a upheaval of governments, right? And then, I'm learning because of you about the Boer War and these Milner and, Natty Rothschild.
Yeah.
And, they were legitimately busy working from the 1902, 1903
Sure.
all the way up. That was planned, executed with purpose. Right?
Yeah, it takes a while to get these ideas through the minds of people. Now, you'd be amazed at what propaganda was put in our brains when I was in the 5th and 6th grade in Athens, Georgia. Heavens above.
Yeah, tell us about the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, yeah. Well, Barrow School in Athens, Georgia, the building was 2 wings to it, and it was a wide V. You remember that old Cadillac automobile back there years and years ago on the front, that they had that V that was very wide.
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, that's kind of where the building was shaped. Well, where the apex of the building was, that was the main entrance to it. And of course, it had entrances on either end of the wings. Well, when you went in the main entrance, there was the principal's office, and there was the dining area, and the restrooms and stuff like that. Well, in the morning, James, when the school started, one of the students that was good with the bugle, he blew reveille. Yeah, that started off the day. And then we all sang this little song. Every little lad and lass, boys and girls from every class, here beneath the flag of stripes and stars. From the time they start to school till they learn the golden rule, always have been proud of what they are. And every day when lessons done, they sing their song, "Oh, Washington," a song of love that reaches near and far. First in war, first in peace, first in the hearts of his countrymen. That is the story of Washington. That is the glory of Washington. His spirit is here. His spirit is here. He's standing, commanding above. In word and deed, we follow the lead of the Father of the land we love. And then we had a Pledge of Allegiance. And we put our hands over our heart, and you'll have to see this. We said, then they extended our hands with the palm down. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States, so forth. Well, that looked an awful lot like Heil Hitler with the hand pointed palm up. And so next year they didn't do that anymore. Okay.
Yeah. Next year they didn't do that anymore.
No, yeah. Anyway, James, we had aircraft spotters in those days. We had blackouts at night. Yeah. You know, the aircraft spotters were some German airplane gonna come over here and bomb Athens, Georgia. Now, you know, Athens, Georgia got to be one of the primary military targets in the world.
Did anybody think that was odd at the time?
Huh?
Did anybody that you know, did anybody think that was odd at the time?
Not really, because you see, everything is based on fear.
Right.
James, they taught us how to put out incendiary bombs with sand. Yeah, yeah. Stuff like that. And twice a year they would have in firepower demonstrations down at Sanford Stadium and on the Georgia campus, whatever. Now, again, you know, Athens, Georgia, being a college town, it had to be the biggest military target you could possibly imagine. But if you ever been to Heidelberg, Germany?
Not yet.
Well, that's one of the famous colleges in Germany. And, you know, Cologne was totally destroyed except the cathedral there. Mm. And you know what happened in Dresden and so forth.
I did.
But how many bombs were dropped on Heidelberg, Germany? 0. But, geez, you know, when you look back and see the crazy things that took place, it's unbelievable. And people swallowed all that nonsense.
Yeah.
Well, you can see then how things, when that war was over, how the ridiculous things took place. But let's go back to World War I there. You know, the whole idea was to get rid of all them damn Germans, so forth. Well, November the 11th, what do we celebrate here in America, huh?
Veterans Day today.
Yeah, but you know, it used to be called Armistice Day, but they changed the meaning of words or changed the words or so forth to make them sound more innocuous and whatever. Well, so no, Armistice Day, they laid down their arms. Yeah, but when did the peace treaty come?
In Versailles.
Yeah, 7 months later. Well, during that 7 months there, the armistice was taking place, but the British blockaded all the ports of Germany, and people were starving to death. 1,000 calories a day. You ain't gonna make it on $1,000 calories a day. That's all there is to it. But do our history books in America ever tell you about that, huh?
No. They perfected the concentration. The British.
Yes.
Perfected the concentration camps in the Boer War.
Sure. Yes. A couple of the facts that what did we do during WW2 to the Japanese, huh?
Mm-hmm.
American citizens, but they had the wrong eyes and so forth.
You know, not to mention that, you know, we had to get rid of the Germans because they're, you know, economic powerhouse coming on, but somebody made a lot of money in that war too.
That did not just a little bit. That's the whole object, is that they make more money off of wars than any other thing. And so let's go to the end of World War II. Looking at YouTubes and so forth, there's this YouTube out there, Eisenhower's Rhine Meadows death camps, and Meadow, there's no cover at all, and the Rhine is a river there. All right, there's this horde of German soldiers there. The war is over, and they're out there starving to death, totally. But our history books won't ever tell you about that, will they? Because we're the guys with the white hats and so forth.
Yeah, what is it to the victor, the spoils go, right? Yeah. They get to write history.
Yeah, see, that's the reason that revisionist history is so important, is you got to wait till the dust settles and so forth. For instance, go back to my book, Building Your Warehouse of Wealth, okay? You remember the 10th chapter, Out of Egypt and On to Babylon?
Oh, yeah, that essay. I sure do.
All right. Well, you know, all that is, the beginning part of it is coming from Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy means what? The second giving of the law. All right. The detail that's in the Deuteronomy is not in Genesis. The idea that Pharaoh, during the as a result of Joseph's prediction, he confiscated 20% of the produce of the land during the 7 years of fat. And when the 7 years of lean came along, he sold back to them that which he stole. Well, what else is new by the government? Well, they ran out of money. They mortgaged their cattle, which is another form of money. And they ran out of cattle, and then they mortgaged themselves and ended up being slaves for 420 years. But that is not in Genesis. It's revisionist history that tells you the truth.
Thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed the content, leave us a like or a thumbs up, share us with your friends, give us some feedback, and we'll see you next time.